War 93. My goodness, War 93. We had some very epic early grabs, and there was much jubilation. And the collies just took us by storm. I mean, I thought it was all over, but we've turned everything around. And in the midst of this, I'm going to take a break and explain to you. Really, I've finally started using the weapons effectively. I think we all had to change our strategies in face of the war, the collie onslaught. So I'm going to be going over a list of all the weapons in the game that I've used or seen to a point where I feel like I know how they function. And basically, the weapons will have three categories: either my favorite, a good weapon, or a situational weapon. So I guess we could just go ahead and get started off with the main weapons for both factions. There's the Argenti for the Collies, and then there's the Loudcaster for the Wardens. And for quite a while, I was envious of that little carbine just because it seemed to function better than the Loudcaster. Just because it can just shoot more gun bullets, and that a lot of times really just that it comes down to who shoots more gun bullets. That a lot of times that I mean it doesn't always determine it, but it definitely helps. Like it superiority of fire definitely helps, and that thing, it's light, it's accurate. I used to like it for a while, but the thing that honestly got me so disillusioned about it is it takes so many shots to kill a person. I think it takes 3 shots to kill a person. I could be wrong about that, but it just doesn't seem like the bullets do damage. And if you want to stop a Logi truck with it, forget about it. Forget about it. It doesn't seem to do much damage. The Loudcaster, you absolutely have to crouch, aim, and then shoot. And for most weapons, I would recommend this process just because aiming is such a precarious thing. And honestly, after this war, I like the Loudcaster more than the Argenti. It behaves. The Argenti is just it's okay at everything, but the Loudcaster has a terrible short side, and that is that anything like a mid-range battle or lower, it's just gonna suck. If you can't outrange the enemy with it, it's just gonna suck. You can be in a pillbox or a bunker though, and that makes it very serviceable. Just because it's so accurate, it's so far away. You need a lot of ammo, but you can keep up a pretty great rate of fire with the Loudcaster if you're garrisoned, and that is basically throughout the whole game. Like if I'm garrisoned, I like having a Loudcaster on me just to get those idiots that are just kind of far away. The Collies get pretty good to Loudcaster, but the one thing I will say is those freaking Brigadiers, those Skynet Brigadiers that hunt me down. Basically, my entire perspective here is that as a partisan. Okay, that's my main goal, is being partisan ready, or being ready for counter partisan operations, which it's really kind of a similar thing. It's just maneuver warfare. It's a lot of monkeying around at night. Okay, so that's a perspective that I'm delivering, and I'm doing it as a colonial warden. I mean, sorry, not a colonial. Wow, I'm doing it as a warden partisan. So, colleagues, please tune out now. This information is not for you. Not for you. I don't like you. But yeah, I'm mostly just a partisan. And the Loudcaster is very serviceable for shooting trucks. All you have to do is shoot the truck 3 times. You can shoot it as it's entering, so there's a couple different ranges I'd like to lay out there. There's short range, medium range, long range, and then extra long range. And the Loudcaster is somewhere between long range and extra long range. It's longer than long range, but shorter than extra long range. So you can shoot the Logi as it's coming towards you, and they're like, oh, fuck, we're getting shot at. You can shoot it as it passes you, and then you can shoot it as it's leaving. And it has enough range to do this. The Logi just can't move fast enough. I mean, there's times where it gets away from me for sure. I'll say there's definitely times where the Logi escapes me for sure. The Argentine can't do that, but those freaking brigadiers and lieutenant colonels on Skynet, they do this thing where they hop around with the Argenti, and it is so annoying because you can't hit them. You cannot hit them. Not with the Loudcaster, anyways, because you have to crouch to shoot them, I think. So, but the cool thing about the Loudcaster is, I like lopsided weapons. I like weapons that have a very specific purpose, I guess. And so I like the Loudcaster. It combos really well with the pistol. Okay, I believe the Ahiti and then the Warden pistol or whatever. I believe the two pistols behave the same way. I used to think that the Warden pistol shot quicker but did less damage, but now I believe they have the exact same stats. They just look different, sound different. But the pistol in either case pairs really well with the Loudcaster just because it's not great for moving. It's not great for shooting and moving, and it's not really great for close quarters. So the pistol does all those things. The pistol, it's a good weapon. I'm not as good as some people are with it. It's just a deadly weapon. Its really only downfall is its range, of course. But you start with it and you get 2 mags for it, and I've been killed by the pistol plenty of times. It's a good weapon for murdering people. It just gets outranged by a rifle. That's why we don't really use it a lot. I know that on the blue side we have a selection of pistols. We have a revolver, and then we have the burst pistol. The burst pistol is what I'm going to call situational. It's very situational, and that situation is being right in front of them. Like you have to be like right on top of them. So basically, if you were like in a garrison and they were beneath you, like waiting for you to pop down there, like that would be a pretty good weapon just for like evaporating them. I don't think it kills them in one shot, but they might as well be dead because they're like very red, very bloody, and then they're probably also bleeding. But I mean, just shoot two bursts into it. Now, the reason this is very situational is I just don't recommend this weapon for many reasons. The range is just so short, and it only fires 4 bursts, so you get 4 times the click. It does stay reasonably accurate between and he swings a pistol around, so it does what it does well. But the thing it does is just engage in extremely short range combat, much like the shotgun. Honestly, most cases I would say avoid it. In fact, the shotgun's far worse, but they're both in the same category of just being near useless. There's the revolver pistol, which is very serviceable. I would also call it situational, though, because I believe it is very cumbersome in terms of weight. Very cumbersome in terms of weight. The Wardens have a very strange rifle. I can't say that I think it's fantastic, but it has its uses. It's called the Hangman. It's a rifle with 6 shots in it, so that ultimately makes this weapon situational. I'm not really sure. I guess it and the long rifles all occupied kind of just beyond Loudcaster range, but not quite at sniper rifle range. So they're all within extreme long range, I guess I would call, at least for handheld weapons. I haven't had a bunch of luck with it. I would probably just rather use the Loudcaster. It's going to be more available. The one cool thing about the Hangman, though, is the 357 rounds that the revolver takes. They stack. The magazine stack, so anyone can carry that, and 4 rounds in a thing and only take up the primary. And so it's useful in that regard, and I think it does have like a bunch of damage. But I don't think it can take down towers or structures. So maybe I just have to be good with it, but it's going in the situational category for me. And then there's the long rifles I alluded to. There's a Kali one, and there's a Warden one, and once again situational. Just so situational. I like them at night if I'm like somewhere where I know I'm secure. Typically in a garrison, it's great for night fighting if you have a shit ton of ammo, because the nice thing about the long rifles, they're called heavy rifles in the game, but everyone calls them long rifles, is they only take regular rifle ammo. So you're always going to have ammo for them. That's that's the cool thing is you're always going to have ammo for the long rifles. The Hangman, it's just always, it seems to be so mismatched. There always seems to be too many 357 rounds, not enough Hangman, or the reverse. I mean, it's honestly an easy situation to remedy, but it's just like why would you spend the BMATs getting those things when there are some magnificent choices? There's some magnificent choices. It is like an early war thing. I guess it shines the most early war when there's not like a lot of competition against it. Like it has, I think, a longer range than a Loudcaster, or maybe it does more damage. So it does perform differently, but it does the same function enough that I disregard the Hangman for the most part. Situational. Um, a weapon that I am definitely excited about, and it's goes into my favorite list. I'm only gonna have 3 of them in this whole thing, and it's a collie gun. It's a rifle. It's called the Fusilli, I think, and it's so good. It is so it is so dang good. Okay, it fires and bursts, and you can like whip the bursts around like a fucking wet noodle, and you can slap people that are running around, so that'll like stun them just enough to shoot them again and kill them. Or if usually you just shoot them and then the 3 bullets hit them and they die. Now you got to hit them with 3 bullets, but just like that. It has an 18 round clip and it fires bursts of 3, so you get 5 shots, and that's not so bad. That's really, I guess it's less than the Hangman, but they just seem to hit. If you're in a garrison, use it. I mean, you could just mow them down. If you're outside a garrison, like you can just advance and you see the enemy and you shoot them. And if you're the first person to shoot, I believe it has less range than than the Argenti. I think it is somewhere between medium and long range. But honestly, I believe that is where most of the fighting takes place. Is that the sweet spot? Is just beyond medium range, but just below long range. And that's what the facility does. Is it fires further than a submachine gun and almost as far as a rifle. It's just I've defended bunkers with it. I've assaulted with it. I've gone on long range missions with it. I've just defended trenches with it. It's a very good gun, and I don't know why the colliers don't use it more, because when you get shot at by a Fusilli, it's like, oh, I've been shot and now I'm dead, and that's it. I don't know why they don't use it more. They seem to like to use the Argenti. I guess the Argenti, it's just like almost like the M4 for them, where it's just like a ubiquitous weapon. I don't know. They should be using the Fusilli for sure. The Warden counterpart to this, I keep forgetting the name of it. Oh, the Sampo. Is the Sampo. This one is definitely just situational. I used to like the Sampo, but it suffers just an egregious sin, and that is that it is a medium range weapon. And so you're gonna be destroyed by anything short range, and if you try to go short range, and you're gonna be destroyed by anything long range if you try to go long range with it. It's so hard to hit this sweet spot of about like 15 meters, 20 meters, somewhere right there. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's 12 meters. I don't know. It's like that. But you've got to hit it right there with the sand. If you do it, you'll fuck them up, because it does spray, but it sprays consistently. So it's like it shoots out like a cone. It's like a long range cone. But unfortunately, because it's still kind of accurate, it just doesn't shoot very fast. So even destroying things like fucking trucks takes a lot of shots, and it just, if it shot faster but retained the accuracy, that would be great. Or if it was just a little more accurate, that'd be great. Or if it got past its sin of being a medium range weapon, that would be great. But it just has too many sins against it, so it's going situational. It's great for being in a pillbox. It's fantastic. One guy can hold off so many collies, and it makes a really scary noise. But it can't tango. It cannot. It can't seem. I just can't seem to compete against other weapons. It does do one thing exceptionally good. It's hard to fuck up shooting someone if they're unawares. It's hard to fuck that up, because you get to shoot all 12 shots at them while they're like doing their thing, reacting to your gun bullets and then running away or towards you. You can shoot that whole time. So you're shooting for like 6 seconds, and usually you almost always kill them from a safe-ish distance. You can go away. So, but it's just it's so situational, and I sometimes, depending on the situation, I'll debate getting that or Loudcaster, but that and Loudcaster early war, fantastic defense weapons. They both operate so differently, and they take rifle ammo. So you just spawn as a trooper, you get one of those, you get one of those, you just get a bunch of mags, and then you spawn inside the garrison. And here's the cool thing, all right? If well, I mean, like, you enter the pillbox garrison. If you're in the pillbox garrison or whatever, or a window or something, and you're close enough to the bunker base, you can have access to the stockpile. So you can't build anything because you're crouched. You can't uncrouch while you're inside, but you can remove items and put them in the stockpile. So if you have someone just down there just like making a bunch of ammo for you and then feeding them up there, you just have like bullets ready to go. Only because there's guys that run in there with the bayonet. The bayonet is an accessory to rifles. It I haven't used it. It's very effective though. I can see that it's a very effective weapon. It just, the one main thing it does is it strikes a morale. It strikes the morale. Just one guy can like cause fear in probably five or six soldiers. One bayonet guy, they'll drop everything they're doing to shoot him. The most insidious thing I've seen them do with the bayonet, and the reason it works really well with the Argenti, I think, is they like to stay really light, so they just get the Argenti, and a mag, maybe 2 mags. And as you're running away from the bayonet, he'll suddenly just take off the bayonet, and no, he won't even take off the bayonet. He doesn't have to. He'll just shoot you while you're running. He'll just shoot you while you're running away. So like you're running away from him while he's like chasing you with the bayonet, you're not looking at him, and then he just stops chasing you and he shoots you in the back. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's so bad. And it's hard to get them. It's hard to get them when they whip around there. I think that's about it for the rifles. You've got the starter rifle, you've got like a specialty firing rifle, you got long rifles, and then you've got the Hangman. My favorite weapon by far, mainly because it's so available for so long, is absolutely the Fiddler. It's definitely a cope weapon. It's absolutely a cope weapon. It's one of the no skill, low skill weapons. But, with that, we get to upgrade our battle squeebs. All of our battle squeebs automatically can just shoot more bullets. And like I said, filling the battlefield with just more gunshots is typically a good idea to do. I like it because it has 25 rounds in the magazine, which is like so much more than anything else. At the time that the Fiddler usually comes out, it has so much more ammo. Now, the downside, of course, and I wouldn't even say that the Fiddler is a medium range weapon. I would say it's a short range weapon. Okay, it does not have the range of the medium weapon. It doesn't really have a bunch of range. It's really low, really low. We're talking like 8 meters, less than 10. But it's so good at night. It's just such a great weapon at night. You're just stumbling across a collie, and you both look at each other, and all you do is crouch and aim and shoot, and you hope for the best. You absolutely always want the magazine topped off. If you shoot more than one bullet, reload. Yeah, I don't care if you're down to your last mag. There was a time where I had 12 bullets in the clip and I ran out of ammo halfway through. So always, because that's that's the thing. That's the charm about it. Is it's just a mobile bullet hose. It's just a mobile bullet hose. And I don't really like to get myself stuck in the trenches. I don't think it's probably too useful in the trenches just because you won't be able to shoot the other trench. If you're going on a raid, it's great. but I like shooting at collie vehicles with it a lot. It dumps its clips so quick. Yeah, it's great for shooting Lodgies, and you can just build so many of them and spam ammo and just send them everywhere. It's so good at killing Lodgies and running down their driver. It's seriously just a huge firepower upgrade, and the guy treats it like it's a rifle or a pistol or something. He does not go slow with it at all. So he can just like sprint up there. It's a weapon unlike any other in the game. It's an MP40. I mean, that's what it feels like, is the Call of Duty MP40, and that's what it's designed off of. It has a 25 round clip, but honestly, I do think it shoots closer to 32 because, like, it's almost like its ammo is more dependent on how, like, time rather than bullets. It's weird because, like, I've shot just one bullet out of the clip and it shoots like a burst. So it's like you're almost like, it's not bullets. It's a measurement of time of bullet spray. And that it's like that with a lot of automatic weapons. That's not special in that, but what is special about it is it's basically the smallest thing to do that. There is something smaller than that. The collies have the pitch gun and situational. I mean, its situation is great. It gets to be in the 2 slot. Okay, so if you're a medic, I mean, it's there, but I don't know. Pistol medic, combat medic has worked better for me typically than being a pitch medic. But where it really shines, and especially on the collie vehicles, is the guy can pop out the hatch and shoot it like it's a fucking pistol. Absurd. It's just absurd. I've been destroyed by their, like, it's like an armored green Jeep thing. It's like an LUV. I guess it basically makes their Jeep obsolete because it's just like that, but it has one less seat and it's armored and it has a hatch on top. And yeah, the guy pops out the hatch and just blasts me. And I've had it happen to me from a tank too, I think, or something, or a tank destroyer. The guy just popped out the hatch and just blasted me. It's not a bad gun, but I believe it's burst, so it's a little unwieldy. And it just doesn't do much damage, and the range isn't that great, and there's only 15 rounds instead of 25. Ultimately, I don't really see much reason for the Wardens to ever produce submachine gun ammo. So, in a way, I guess not really having submachine guns is a boon because it kind of streamlines their industry. Like, instead of anyone ever making SMG, they're just making more rifle ammo, so their weapons are more universally compatible. However, they won't be able to supply as much SMG ammo for stolen weapons, so that, it's cool. Next, there's the storm rifles, and I guess the Booker, it's the only one on the list where I'm going to say it just doesn't seem to have a great function. I'm afraid not. I believe it's heavy and it's burst and it doesn't have a lot of ammo capacity. It seems like a very primitive weapon. That's what it is. It's just unrefined. I could see, like, barbarians, from space that got stranded on a world, like, somehow amassing the technology, because it's an intimidating weapon to hear and to see what it does to people, but just to make that work, it's just too difficult with so little payoff. So it's the one weapon that I would just say avoid. Next is the Alto storm rifle. It suffers the sin of being a medium range weapon. It suffers that sin. Medium range. I believe it has a pretty good ammo capacity. It does a fair amount of damage. It's fairly accurate. It's like, it has a lot of great things, but that medium range fucks it so bad because you're slow. You're slow getting up there. So if you engage them in short range, like, you're slow to get up there, or you didn't have it out, so you had your pistol out or something. So it's just like, you're going to be done for short range because getting into position itself is just kind of a chore with it. with the long range, I mean, with the medium range, it's just like, okay, do they have a rifle? Because if they do, they're going to shoot me. Most likely they have a rifle. So I'm just going to get outranged. If you get the jump on them, you can reasonably spray into a crowd and get some pretty good results. And like, if you just get like into like a spray off, like back and forth with it, it seems to outdo the competition. If you can actually trade bullets and just sit through it, even if the guy's behind cover, it seems to just not just hit the enemy like a sledgehammer. So it does what it does pretty well, but it's just situational. It just, like, once again, this one might be good for pillbox duty. You can switch it to semi, but why? Why would you? Why would you do that? So that some dickhead with a rifle that's already shooting, like, so it used to have more range. I really believe it used to have more range, or it didn't used to be heavy, because it used to just be like the standard by the end of the war. But now I'm always kind of just like a little wary of it. I'm just a little wary of it. If you have to, like, I guess the one thing it does really well is it's a very economic weapon. It's a very, very, very economic weapon, because if you do set it to semi, I believe it has 24 rounds. So you can fire for quite a while before you even have to worry about reloading. And the accuracy doesn't really diminish much. So if you can get yourself to that sweet spot, but it's just getting to that sweet spot. And that's going to bring me to the last medium range weapon, which is the lyre. And maybe I'd pay more heed to the lyre if the fiddler didn't exist. The lyre, the description for the lyre is great. It says something about, like, you have to set it up, but once it does that, it just, like, I don't know. It just says it kills, and it does. It does kill. It'll shoot vehicles. I believe it used to have 18 rounds in it. Now it has the same as the fiddler. So it's a solid weapon. It's a solid weapon, but it's a submachine gun that you have to set up to shoot. Okay, at least with the fiddler, I can start shooting and crouch. With the lyre, you have to crouch, take aim, and wait for the reticule to get somewhere. So, like, if you're setting up an ambush, it's great, but running and gunning, it just doesn't do that job very well. But it is notable that it has 25 rounds in the magazine. It's very notable. It's a huge difference, because it used to be 18. And even when it was 18, I still felt really similarly about it. I felt it didn't really, the magazine increase didn't really make or break anything. The fiddler, look, I don't see the collies ever using the lyre. I'll tell you that. They'll use the fiddler. But they won't use the lyre. And this is getting to my third favorite weapon in the game, since I meandered in and out of storm rifles, is the Dusk. It probably is the best weapon in the game, but the only reason... Oh, I guess it's my second one. It should be the fiddler. Oh, no, the facility. Okay, no, I guess there's 4 that I put in that category. Anyways, the Dusk has, like, I think 40 or 30 rounds. It just has an insane ammo capacity, okay? I don't think that the guy goes slow with it, but if he does, it doesn't matter, because the bullets do pretty good damage. It shoots pretty fast. It's pretty accurate. The range is pretty good. It's kind of at that same range that the Sampo auto rifle's at. That weird shorter range that's not quite medium. You could just run and gun with it. You can suppress, like, it's, I don't know if they actually get suppressed, but it's scary. It's scary getting shot at by a Dusk. And I just feel like it's a gun you can just give to a bunch of idiots and expect some kind of result. I feel like just arming privates with the Dusk would get you some kind of result. Maybe the enemy is just going to steal a Dusk and use it on you, but even then, up to that point, I just feel like at least one of those privates is going to have a moment of glory. Yeah, Dusk is just an all-around good gun. It's just very good. It's a good gun all around. It's a gun designed to shoot and kill enemies by filling them with gun bullets. Like that. That's how it operates, and it just does that. It's pretty good. Then there's the machine guns. There's like them alone, and I guess I would consider these medium machine guns, but maybe they're not. They have like huge ammo capacity. They're like 125 round clip, They can fire for a long time, and they're very useful for what they do. I call them situational just because it takes him so long to set it up. He has to crouch to shoot. He can't even shoot it standing up, and he can't swing the weapon around fast either. He moves it so slow. But because it's 50 cal, he can knock down towers with it, which is very great. And there's a couple different ones that fit in this category. Basically, I'm calling every machine gun that fires 50 cal. It's kind of the same thing. It's a weapon that shoots a lot, and it's a support weapon, and it's very, very useful. It changes the dynamic of just having one of these on your side changes the dynamic of the battlefield instant, just like that. It changes the way to fire. You know, you're essentially giving one man, I guess, the firepower of 20 or 10 or something, 10 or 20 riflemen somewhere. But you know, he's very cumbersome. But I mean, like any collie that just out there, you just zap and kill. It's very effective from structures, especially structures that that don't have a 360 arc. But then there's the Katara, fourth favorite weapon. The Katara is a light machine gun. It only has 30 rounds in the mag, which is basically like a fifth of the ammo I think some of the other machine guns have. So you're wasting a lot of machine gun mags. And I honestly, with the Katara, I would recommend having like 5 mags, no less than 4. 3 mags, fuck it. Why? Don't bother. 4 mags minimum. 5 is better. 6. Well, you'll risk giving the enemy a machine gun with 6 magazines, and that's happened. The Katara also just changes the battlefield, but not so much on a company basis. It changes it to squad basis. It's one of those guns where you just like you're moving with your guys, because I would not recommend, even though it's one of my favorites, I don't think it's a great idea to use it alone. I mean, you definitely can, but it's definitely better if you have just a couple guys around you, because he swings it so slow, and it's a heavy weapon, so it takes him like a long time. I mean, he walks the fastest. The difference between him and like running with a rifle is the least out of any of the heavier weapons. It's almost not noticeable. I don't even bother holstering my weapon just because. But yeah, the Katara, look. It's deadly at close, long range, and medium range, and that's really just the best thing about it. And like if it's at night and just suddenly like in the darkness you see shots, oh, that's great. Oh, you just dump the whole mag in the darkness, and the reason you dump the whole mag is, you don't want to shoot the Katara with only 20 rounds in the magazine or 12 or something. You just blow the whole thing away and then choose another target. Okay, that's the key though, is just making them afraid. It can destroy watchtowers, which is very cool. It takes 45 shots to do it, or 42 shots to do it, something like that, maybe 46. So it's kind of shitty because you'll have a 12-round magazine after you're done killing a tower. So essentially the tower takes 2 magazines because you're going to want to reload. The heavy machine guns are great. They're just cumbersome. You have to use that tripod. And you have to be like so fortified, I think, to use it well, because you'll just get flanked. I see them a lot in the bridge battles. They do pretty well in the bridge battles. But they also get stolen a lot in the bridge battles. Then there's the double cutler launcher. Just use a cutler. Why fuck with a tripod? The only reason you want the double cutler launcher is to mount it on a half track. That's the only reason you want the double cutler launcher. It's just stupid. Why would you risk all that when you can just fire a cutler? I'll get to the cutler, but I think one of the last tripod mounted weapons is the ISG, which is a very good gun. I haven't used it, but its range is it's not a preposterous range, but its range is just beyond that of most bunker defenses. Range is just beyond that of most bunker defenses. So that's what makes it good. I mean, I have 5 ISGs and about like 60 rounds. You could destroy easily a small bunker. I mean, and all the defenses around it, if not a medium, pretty well defended bunker. with just a handful of guys. It's scary. Every time the collies get that, they're just all of our outer bases just get wiped away, wiped off the map, and they don't even bother conquering them because the ISG team just moves and hits the next target. It's horrifying. That just a couple lot, there's 2 Logi trucks, 5 guys, 5 ISGs, 60 shells, 60 30mm shells. That's all you need. We have the Cutler, and the collies love taking the Cutler, so don't use the Cutler if you're going to lose it, okay? Because they love taking that and using it. I used to think that the collies Ink Fist was better than the Cutler, but then I realized the Cutler is good for structural damage and messing with vehicles, mainly because the range is just long enough so you can fire from the darkness and then run away like a coward. You can also hit pillboxes really well with the Cutler. The Cutler, once late war hits, the Cutler isn't that useful. So it is like at peak usefulness right when it comes out, and then that diminishes as the war goes on. Ink Fist is better at anti-tank, I think, just because I don't know how many Ink Fists come in a box, but I imagine it's 15 or 10. And you just dump that box off at a BB, maybe 2 or 3 of them. And so as soon as our tanks start hitting them, it's all of a sudden everyone has a fucking Ink Fist. Every fucking infantry, there could be 8 of them. 6 or 7 of them will have an Ink Fist. And they're all just waiting to fucking use it. They what they do is they put their rifle away so they don't look as threatening, and then they run up there with the ink. They don't even bother having a gun out. They just run up there, they whip out the Ink Fist. The one thing about the Ink Fist, and this caught me off guard because I don't use them that much, is there's an arming range for the RPG shell. So you can definitely fire it and then not have it detonate. And that's happened to me. And it's so disappointing to get that close. Some tricky collies, sometimes they'll carry 2 or 3 because you're thinking like, well, why? Why would they carry more than 1? Because it's a fire and forget weapon. You just fire it once. Unlike the Cutler where you load RPG shells into it, you just fire off Ink Fist once. And its range is probably like short. It's like SMG range. The thing about the Cutler and the Ink Fist, though, the really cool thing about the rockets is you don't even have to like aim it or anything. You just like look at the guy and you fire it away, and it goes in a straight line. But it does take a little while to travel to the target. The collies have a grenade launcher, which is diabolical. It fires the Tremola, and they got it hella early this war. And what they'll do is they'll dig out a trench to get closer and closer to your base. You're thinking like, oh, it's just a trench. What are they gonna do? Throw grenades, shoot rifles at us? But no, they get right within Tremola range. And the thing about the Tremola is infantry can avoid it very easily. Vehicles can avoid it very easily, but it just detonates. So if you shoot it at a building, the building can't get away. Very devastating. Very, very devastating. Gas long range, for whatever reason, gas just is not as devastating as I remember. I used to die of gas all the time. Maybe it's because I'm not there on the exact front line. So maybe it just my habits changed. Maybe the gas, I don't know. I think the gas fuse has been extended, I think, by like half a second or something, because it takes forever to go off. Frag grenades, I don't know why you would ever use frag grenades. I think they take EMATs, and the gas grenades just take BMATs. So I don't know. The one cool thing about frag grenades is you can cook the frag, but I'm bad at that. I kill myself when I do that. Or I don't cook it enough. But if you do that, you could either airburst them or get to land at their feet and then blow up immediately. Both are great. The collies have a fantastic weapon, which is the Bombastone. It's a grenade with such a long range. It's just beneath that of the grenade launcher. And it's the reason why the grenade launcher can't fire long range frag shit, or theirs can or can. I don't know. But there's no reason, because the Tremola, the Bombastone is so good. It, like, if you are in a crater or a foxhole or something and they throw it, you're gonna have to like crawl out and then it'll just explode. They can get you from so far away. It's so fucking scary. The gas just doesn't do what it used to do. Mammons, They're only good in mass. They're only good in mass. So on partisan missions, I usually, if I want to do some like heavy duty work, I've got to take a whole truck and fill them. And that's kind of dangerous because, a collie getting a whole truck of mammons is like kind of, there have been times when I've delivered just 15 grenades to the enemy just because they killed me right there. But, such as Logi. I don't know how well mines work. I can tell you they work as a fantastic deterrent. They work in mass to like screen an area. So I mean, I've tried to partisan mine and I just I'd never know if I've been successful or not. It's kind of hard to tell if I'm successful or not. And then, there's the best infantry handheld weapon, and that's the alligator charge. That thing is so good. Once the alligator charge is discovered by both factions, the game changes in a drastic way. It becomes this whack-a-mole. It becomes this whack-a-mole insanity because just one guy in an LUV can stock up on like so many of them and just go. If the base does not have AI, its life is forfeit. But yeah, so far, really the thing I take away from this is try all the weapons except for the Booker. And my 4 favorite weapons are as follows. Of course, the Fusilli. My favorite weapon is the Fiddler, just because, not just how I use it, but how it affects the whole war. And then I also like the Dusk, and then I like the Katara. And I think 3 of these weapons are Kali weapons. For now, the Katara is on the Warden side, but if it ever becomes a Kali exclusive weapon, we'll get some similar thing to it, I think. So I'm not. Oh, the Katara has a really annoying noise to it, though. It's so annoying when it reloads. It sounds like a dystopian science fiction sort of like setting where like you hear like a roommate next door say something, or like the TV that's broken say, I don't know, it was weird. But I mean, the one thing I'd like to take away from here, besides the Booker, every weapon has some purpose, has a distinct purpose. I guess maybe what the Booker does for the Wardens is it gives them a weapon. I guess that's the thing it does. But the facility just does everything it does better, and takes rifle ammo, not storm rifle ammo. Yeah, it's probably tied just between the facility and the Fiddler, just because of how early they get used in the war. Yeah, go Wardens. War 93.